Hello dear students, this is Ashish Sharma, your physics teacher. In last lecture number 18, we discussed about Newton's second law of motion. In this lecture, we will discuss some details about Newton's second law of motion, about impulse, and we'll also have a look at horse and cart problem and different units of force. So, dimensions and units of force are already clear to you. Let me give you a detailed view. As we know that F is equal to ma, so m is for mass, and for acceleration dimensions are meter per second square, hence length into time raised to power minus 2, or ml t minus 2 is the dimension of force. There are two categories in units of force. One is absolute units and second is gravitational units. For absolute units, we are having 1 Newton, which is the standard unit of force. It is that force which will produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in mass of 1 kg. So that 1 kilogram meter per second square is known as 1 Newton. Similarly, in CGS system, we are having 1 dyne. It is that much force which will produce an acceleration of 1 centimeter square in 1 gram mass. So 1 gram into 1 centimeter square, or 1 gram centimeter per second square, is 1 dyne. 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to power 5 dynes. The gravitational units are like if the force is given in kilogram weight or kilogram force, then students get confused here. It is simply if we multiply it by 9.8 meter per second square, it will give us the corresponding force. Actually, it is the weight of 1 kilogram force on surface of earth. So when you multiply 1 kilo, for calculating 1 kilogram force, multiply 1 kilo by 9.8 meter per second square, and 9.8 Newton is the 1 kilogram force. Similarly, 1 gram force is 1 gram multiplied by acceleration due to gravity in CGS units 980 dyne. And please remember the relation 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to power 5 dyne. Some consequences of Newton's second law of motion. First, no force is required to move a body uniformly along a straight line, as dp by dt is equal to force applied. So if your force is zero, momentum is constant, and constant velocity can be maintained without any force. Second law is obviously consistent with first law, as F is equal to ma, no force, no acceleration. Accelerated motion is always due to some external force. It is very much clear from F is equal to ma. Measurement of a force also reduces from Newton's second law, as F is equal to ma. We can also measure like m into dv by dt. Rate of change of velocity into mass gives us the force applied on body. Second law of motion is a vector law. We can apply this equation for different components, separate components fx, fy and fz, for the components of momentum in x, y and z directions respectively. सेकेंड लॉ ऑफ मोशन इज एप्लीकेबल टू अ सिंगल पॉइंट पार्टिकल. जब हम पॉइंट मास कंसीडर करेंगे पार्टिकल को, तो जिस पॉइंट पे फोर्स लगा है उसी पॉइंट का हम एक्सेलरेशन कंसीडर करेंगे. एक्सटेंडेड बॉडीज के लिए हम इसकी एप्लीकेशन अभी नहीं पढ़ेंगे. सेकेंड लॉ ऑफ मोशन इज अ लोकल रिलेशन, विच मीन्स एट विच पॉइंट, if at a particular point we are applying force, then acceleration of that point is calculated and at that time only. So it's an here and now law, and not by any history of the motion of particle it got affected. It is only the result of present force. Concept of inertial mass also come from the definition of Newton's second law of motion. F is equal to ma. Acceleration is equal to force divided by mass. So we can calculate m using this relation. Larger the mass of body, smaller is the acceleration produced in it by a given force, or vice versa. So such a mass which accounts for linear inertia of body is also known as inertial mass. Later you can verify that inertial mass and gravitational mass are same. Next point is impulse. Impulse of a force is measure of total effect of force. The main formula of impulse is average force into time. Impulse has dimensions of momentum. As you know that F is equal to dp by dt, we can write it like this when we'll take t on the left, dt on the left hand side, integrating both sides and considering F average to be constant force, F average can be taken out of the integration sign, and dt will give you t integrating 0 to t, upper limit minus lower limit. Similarly dp, there is nothing, so it will give you p integration limit p1 to p2. So F average into t is p2 minus p1, and that is known as impulse. So impulse is also equal to change in momentum or average force into time. Let us have a look on numerical for understanding this. A hammer of mass 1 kg moving with a speed of 6 meter per second strikes a wall and comes to rest in 0.1 second. Calculate impulse force, retardation and retarding force. So we have been given m is equal to 1 kg, u is equal to 6 meter per second, v is equal to 0, so and t is equal to 0.1 second. So we know that impulse is equal to force into time or change in momentum. So we can easily calculate change in momentum. 1 into 0 is your final momentum and 1 into 6 m into u is your initial. So 0 minus 6 is minus 6 Newton second is your impulse. Second, ft is equal to change in momentum. So using this equation we can easily calculate 0.1 second will go in division, and f is equal to minus 60 Newton. So minus 60 Newton is the force which is applied by a wall on the hammer. We had taken the direction of hammer positive. So retardation force is 60 Newton. Whenever we it is the same manner like if we are saying acceleration is minus 5, then retardation is plus 5. So if F is equal to minus 60 Newton, so retarding force will become minus 60. Here F is minus 60, so retardation will become plus 60. The sign will change. Acceleration is force by mass, and we can easily calculate acceleration of hammer is minus 60 meter per second square, or we can say retardation is plus 60 meter per second square. Next, there are few applications of impulse. A cricket player lowers his hand while catching a cricket ball. When it lowers his hand, it gives the player some time. So if time is increased, then we know that force into time is impulse is equal to impulse. So if time will increase, we can see here that F is equal to impulse divided by time. As the impulse is constant for the ball, if you will increase the time, the force on the hands will decrease. When a person falls from a certain height on a cemented floor, then the person receives more injury, because on cemented floor will not go down and time of collision is very less. On the other hand, if the person falls on a heap of sand, then sand yields and the person will enter into the sand, so collision will be of longer time and lesser force will be exerted on person. So that's why हम आराम से कूद सकते हैं मिट्टी के ढेर पे comparing to jumping on hard floor. China wares and glasswares are wrapped in paper or straw pipes. The same reason, during transportation, if they will get any jerk, then the straws or the glasswares, they will provide them extra time. A cushion they will provide, and that extra time will decrease the force of impact and it will reduce their chances of breaking. Vehicle like scooter, car, bus, etc. are provided with shockers. Shock absorbers do the same thing. They increase the time of impact and we receive lesser force when we are sitting in that vehicle. So it makes our ride smooth and jerk free. बोगीज ऑफ ए ट्रेन आर प्रोवाइडेड विद बफर्स. आपने देखा होगा ट्रेन के दो डब्बों के बीच में वो जो दो स्प्रिंग लगे रहते हैं जो आपस में टकराते हैं जब भी ट्रेन एक्सेलरेट करती है या ब्रेक लगती है, तो उससे भी हमारे को जो शंटिंग के जर्क है, शंटिंग होता है जैसे ट्रेन का इंजन चलता है झटके से, तो वो पीछे से इंजन बाकी के बोगीज़ को भी झटके से खींचेगा, तो वो जर्क हमारे को ना लगे, तो उसके लिए वो बफर्स होते हैं जो टाइम इंक्रीज़ कर देते हैं. तो आप देख रहे हो हर जगह टाइम का ही कंसेप्ट आ रहा है. It is difficult to catch a cricket ball than to catch a tennis ball, because cricket ball is hard, the time it will spend less time in your hands when you are catching it. Tennis ball is soft, it will compress, and time is more, so lesser force will be exerted. In head-on collision, more damage is seen because extremely large force develops in collision, as linear momentum is equal to sum of the linear momenta of two vehicles. Time of impact is small in head-on collision. An athlete is advised to come to stop slowly, because if he will stop suddenly, then his muscles will need to apply greater force, which may lead to muscle torn. So with these consequences, let us move to Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that every action has equal and opposite reaction. आपने सुना 9th class में पढ़ा होगा, FAB is equal to minus FBA. A simple example, a book is kept on a table. If the weight is working downward mg, the normal reaction is vertically upward, that is also equal to mg. Horse and the cart problem. Please pay attention here. Suppose the mass of the weight of the cart is W1 and reaction of the cart is R1. R1 is equal to W1 and R2 is equal to W2. W2 is the mass of horse. H is horse. This dot is horse. And when a horse is pulling a cart, it presses the ground at some angle theta and apply force F. The reaction opposite to the force R will be available in this direction, having theta angle with the horizontal. Now a component R cos theta of this reaction is available for moving forward, while R sin theta will balance the weight of the horse. So you can write here R sin theta is equal to W2. R sin theta will balance the weight of the horse. Now R cos theta is available for moving forward, where small f is indicating force of friction on the wagon or the cart. You will study about force of friction in coming topics. So the cart will move only if your R cos theta is greater than force of friction, then only the cart will move, otherwise cart will not move. So with these remarks, study hard. My instruction to you is, and pay special emphasis on these units, absolute and gravitational units. They are to be used in numericals. Practice problems for problems given at the end of chapter. Do solved examples, and I will see you in next lecture. Thank you.